Hello, welcome to our next lesson on decimals with the driving question, how do I make calculations with decimals? So the first thing we're going to do this morning is start work on a few relatively simple calculations, things that we should all be familiar with. The one thing that I would say is when you do get to question 3, do check out the question 3b hint. Think about how you might have seen this done before. And work your way through it. By the way, there is a mistake on that, so be very careful. Do follow down exactly what they're doing. Okay, so work your way down through those questions, and when you're ready, restart the lesson, and I'll be here to go through the answers. So, first question, 63 divided by 7. Nice and simple. It's 9, our standard multiplication table. So we should be okay with these. The next one, 56.2 divided by 10. Dividing by 10 effectively moves the numbers to the right one place, which gives us 5.62. 9 divided by 100. Divided by 100 moves the numbers 2 places to the right. So one place will get it one side of the decimal point, and then we need to move it over another one. So we've got to put in a 0 to show that there's another place in between. So that gives us 0.09. 37 divided by 10, one place over again, gives us 3.7, and 423 divided by 100 gives us 4.23. So those calculations start off relatively simply. Now we're going to carry on and do things that are just a little bit longer and a little bit more awkward. So the first one is an addition. Now, whenever we look at multiple additions, multiple number addition, we're going to have to use the column method. And if you notice, each one of those numbers has a decimal point in it, so we use the decimal points to line up the numbers. So I start with my first number, 26.3. Now our next number doesn't have a decimal point in it, that's 53,082. So I'm going to line up the units. So the 2 goes under the 6 because it's in the ones column. The 8 goes under the 2 because it's in the tens column. There are no hundreds, 3,000s and 5 10,000s. And my last number is a number that's less than 1, so there's going to be a 0 in the ones column and 617. So when I've actually got those numbers written down, the addition doesn't look as complicated as it did a few minutes ago, because all of a sudden we can see that we don't really have to do an awful lot with this. So as I'm adding them up, I've got a 7 by itself, so that just goes through. A 1 by itself, so that just goes through. A 6 add 3 is 9. Then I've got my decimal point. 6 add 2 is 8. 8 add 2 is 10. Put down a 0. Carry the 1. 1 add nothing is 1. 3 with nothing is 3. 5 with nothing is 5. So in actual fact it's 53,100. 53,108.917. So in reality, a very, very simple number to add up, not as complicated as it looked by any stretch of the imagination. So, moving on, we've now got a subtraction. And subtraction's very difficult to do with take away then take away. So I'm actually going to do this as two separate subtractions. My first one, 73.8, take away 46.93. In order to help me, just to remind me, I'm going to put a 0 there. So 0 take away 3 I can't do, so I have to borrow. That becomes a 7, that becomes a 10. 10 take away 3 is 7. 7 take away 9 I can't do, so I have to borrow again. That becomes a 2, that becomes a 17. 17 take away 9 is 8. That gets me to the decimal point. 2 take away 6 I can't do, I have to borrow. 12 take away 6 is 6. 6 take away 4 is 2. So that's my first subtraction done. And now from that answer, I'm going to subtract 12.06. So 7 take away 6 is 1, 8 take away nothing is 8, 6 take away 2 is 4, 2 take away 1 is 1. So my answer is 14.81. And now we're getting back onto things that we should be a little bit more familiar with. 4.83 times 2.5. So we've done quite a few of these now. I'm going to write them down as if there weren't any decimal points in them, because we know what we've got to do with the decimal points at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 483 by 5, which will give me 15, put in a 5, carry the 1, 40 add 1 is 41, put in a 1, carry the 4, 5 4s are 20, add 4 is 24. And then 483 by 20, so I'll put down a 0, 2 3s are 6, 2 8s are 16, put down a 6, carry a 1, 2 4s are 8, and 1 is 9. Add those together. 5, sorry, I should have moved that down. 5, 7, carry 1, 1, carry 1. Sorry, 0, carry 1, 12. So now I've got those numbers, I've got to decide where my decimal point goes. Well, there's 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point in the question, so I must have 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point in the answer, 12.075. If I do a quick estimate, I've got 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. I've got an answer of 12 there, so my answer looks right. And then to finish off, we've got a similar sort of question. 2.45 times 3.32. 245 times 332. Multiply these together. 2 times 495. 2 times 245 is 490. 30 times 245 is 7,350, and then 300 times 73,050, or 73,500. If I add all of that together, I get 81,340. Go back to my question. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal point in the question, so I must have 4 numbers after the decimal point in the answer. 8.1340. I do count the 0 as one of the numbers after the decimal point. Obviously, if I was writing that down, I would write it down as 8.134. I wouldn't bother writing down the 0 now, but I have to use it in the question to count up the numbers after the decimal. A quick estimate, 2 times 3 is 6, and I've got 8, so again, my estimate's pretty good. It's the right size, it's not 80 or 0.8, so that's absolutely fine. So now we come to the questions that I suspect has caused more problems, the divisions. So let's have a quick look at these divisions now. So, first one's easy enough. We've got 2, 9, 4. Give yourself plenty of room in here so you can carry the numbers over. How many 3's in 2? There's none, so I carry the 2. How many 3's in 29? Well, 9 3's are 27, so there's 9, and there's another remainder of 2, which I write next to the 4. How many 3's in 24? 8. So my answer is 98. The next one, now our knowledge of the 13 times table probably isn't as good. So this is where that hint comes in. And if you notice on the hint, it says that 41 take away 39 is 3. It's 2. So they've made a bit of a mistake there. I don't really understand how that's got through, but never mind. So, 412.1. Now, how many 13's in 4? There aren't any. How many 13's? I'm not going to write it down because I know that I've got 41 here. How many 13's in 41? Well, are there any 13's in 41? Yes, there are, because obviously 41 is bigger than 13. Helpfully, they've told us that it's 3, which is correct. And they've also told us that 3 13's are 39. So underneath the 41, I write the 39. If I take the 39 away from 41, I'm left with 2. At this point, I bring down my next number, which is also a 2. So next to the 2, I write another 2. Are there 13's in 22? Yes, there are. How many 13's are there in 22? Well, 2 13's at 26. We can double 13 easily enough, quickly enough. That's less than 26, so there can be only 1. How many's left? Right, well, I'm going to do another little subtraction sum, and I'm going to take 13 away from 22, which will leave me with 9. I'll bring down my next number, which is 1, which down here is 91. Now remember, because you have a decimal point here in the question, I need to put the decimal point there in the answer. So I must have a decimal point in this. I don't have to worry about it down here, but I do need it up here. Now, I don't really know my 13 times table that well, so I'm going to do a little calculation. I know, because I can work out, I can do 5, I can do 10 13's are 130, so it's less than 10 13's. 5 13's are 65, because it's half of 130, so I know this number must lie between 5 13's and 10 13's. So if I do 6 13's, I can actually do a little sum. I can do 13 times 6. 6 threes are 18, put down an 8, carry the 1, 6 ones are 6, carry the 1 is 7, that gives me 78. Okay, that's interesting. Can I get another one in? Because yes, I could have 6, but we'll have a remainder. What would be the next one after that? Well, let's try 7. Let's try 13 times 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Put down a 1, carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7. Add 2 is 9. 91. So I know that 91 divided by 13 is 7. I mean, I can finish this off by writing 91 down there and 0 under there, if I really want to, just to make it look neat, but my answer is 31.7. Okay, then moving on to our last one, which I'm going to do exactly the same again. I have 23, I'm dividing 943 by it. Are there any 23s in 9? No. So put down a 0. I need to do some work on 23s now. So, I know what 123 is. I know what 2 times 23 is, because I can double it. That gives me 46. I can work out 3 times 23 by adding these two numbers together, and that will give me 69. I can work out 4 times 23 in a couple of different ways. I could add 23 onto this one, or I could double this one. 2 6s are 12, 2 40s are 80, 80 and 12 makes 92. Now the number I'm going to be dealing with here is 94, so I'm not going to have any more. So I know that there are 4 23s in 94. I can write what 4 93s are, 92, underneath, and take them away. So 4 take away 2 is 2, 90 take away 90 is nothing. Bring down my next number, which is 3. How many 23s are there in 23? 1. So my answer is 41. Nice and easy. Sometimes a little calculation like that can save you a lot of work later on, because anything that you find you don't know, I might have had to review some of those a bit later. So it's always worthwhile being prepared to do calculations like that. Okay, if you need to write down any corrections, or you need to go back through the lesson to see any of your corrections, please do so. Otherwise, or when you're ready, please just restart the lesson and we'll get on. So, the next thing which I'm going to be going through is these number patterns. So whilst we go through them, I mean, I'm perfectly happy for you to be doing them as well. I would like you to be doing these and starting thinking about part B as well. So let's have a work together through these questions. Yeah, so 143 divided by 100 is, well, I've got to move the numbers 2 places over. To move the numbers 2 places to the right, so that gives me 1.43. So my next one, 143 divided by 10, I only have to move the numbers to the right 1 place. So that would be 14.3. 143 divided by 1, I don't have to do anything here, so it just stays as 143. Now can you see with each case what's happening? I'm going to put the decimal point in just to make it a little bit clear. With these, every time I've done this, the decimal point, or the numbers have moved 1 place to the left each time. So the next one, they're going to move another place to the left. So 143 divided by 0.1, effectively my numbers are going to move over another place. So I'm going to have 143, then a place, then a decimal point. To show that there's something in between, I've put a 0. And then for the last one, 143 divided by 0.01, it's going to move over another place. So that's going to be 1, 4, 3, 2 zeros. Now obviously we can repeat that again and again and again with the other examples as well. I think really the point is made here. What multiplication is the same as dividing by 0.1? Well, how is another way that I could turn 143 into 1430 if I could multiply it by 10? So 143 divided by 0.1 is the same as 143 times 10. Is that okay? And if we look at the second one, 27 divided by 0.01 is the same as, well, how do I turn? It's going to be this one, dividing by 0.01, so it's going to be 27 times 100. So dividing by small powers of 10 is the same as multiplying by relatively larger powers of 10. In each case, we move the numbers the same amount of places, but we just move them in different directions. So, if you've got that written down, get ready to have a look at your next questions. If you need to pause the lesson for a few minutes to get yourself done, that's fine too. Okay. What I'd like you to do now, please, is to work out the answers to these divisions. So when you're ready, pause the tape. And we'll start. We'll start get the paper ready. Okay, so 15 divided by 0.1, that's going to be the same as 15 times 10 equals 150. 2.6 divided by 0.1, that's also going to be the same as multiplied by 10, So that's going to be 26. 85.3 divided by 0.01. So that's hundredths. That's going to be the same. So dividing by hundredths is the same as multiplying by hundreds. So that's going to be, the numbers move over 2 places to the left, and that gives me 8,530. 2 places. Similarly, the next one, 572 divided by 0.01. So it's dividing by hundredths is the same as multiplying by hundreds. So that's going to be 57,200. 7.6 divided by 0.01. So again, it's equivalent to multiplying by 100. 760. And lastly, 0.3 divided by 0.1. Dividing by 1/10 is the same as multiplying by 10. So that's going to give us 3. Okay, pause the lesson if you need to write corrections, otherwise be ready to move on to the next questions. Okay, so use a calculator to work out these divisions. So for the next section, you can actually use a calculator. You might need to pause the tape and go find one. That's fine. But as soon as you're done, we'll be ready to go. So pause the video, pause the lesson, get ready to answer. Get your calculator, answer the questions, restart when you're back. Okay, I'm not going to write these down because you should have figured out something about them now as you worked your way through them. So 36 divided by 12 is 3. 3.6 divided by 1.2 is also 3. 72 divided by 8 is 9. 7.2 divided by 0.8 is 9. 484 divided by 12 is 121. 4.84 divided by 0.04 is 121. 625 divided by 25 is 25, and 6.25 divided by 0.25 is 25. If you didn't get any of those, write down your corrections, please. Pause the lesson if you need to, and then rejoin as quickly as you can. So, obviously what we should have noticed is what we should notice. So now, without using a calculator, see if you can answer those in your head. You don't need to write these down because I'm going to talk about them in a few minutes. So pause, work them out, get ready to work, and then we'll go through them. Okay, what you should notice with these type of questions is that providing the numbers are in the same order to each other, so they're roughly in the same, they've got the same place values. You can work at answers by themselves. So 8.1 divided by 0.9 is 9. 0.64 divided by 0.08 is 8. If you think about 81 and 9, the 9 and the 1 has the same place value. The 8 has a place value that's 1 more. It's exactly the same in that. With 64 and 8, the 4 and the 8 has the same place value. the 6 is 1 higher. It's the same in that. It doesn't matter where they are on the scale. They're in different places on the scale, but they still have the same. They still have the same relationship with each other. Okay, so how can we use this? Right. So here we've got some questions. You shouldn't need a calculator for any of them. They're all capable of being done in your head, I think. If you do need to work them out, that's fine. But try not to use a calculator. Try to use a written method to work them out. Okay, so when you're ready, pause the video, pause the lesson, and answer these questions, please. Okay, so here we go. So we've got 6.3 divided by 0.7. 63 divided by 7 is 9. 6.3 divided by 0.7 is also 9. 4.8 divided by 0.6. 48 divided by 6 is 8. 4.8 divided by 0.6 is 8. 12.1 divided by 1.1 . 121 divided by 11 is 11. So 12.1 divided by 1.1 is also 11. 0.28 divided by 0.07. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 0.28 divided by 0.7 is 4. 0.9 divided by 0.3. How many 0.3s are there in 0.9? There are 3. And lastly, 14.4 divided by 1.2. 144 divided by 12 is 12, so 14.4 divided by 1.2 is 12. Okay, if you need to write down any corrections, please do so. And that gets us to the end of this lesson. I hope you've understood it. If there's been any problems with it, please just run through it quickly by yourself. Make certain you understand everything for next lesson. Thank you. Bye.